Yeah, no, because sometimes
So
it
this
rips,
week's a half day week.
especially
and then
if
next
there's
week's
like
no
a
class.
crumb, that's where it will rip, and then it'll come through.
Yeah.
Because the tinfoil will rip, so maybe if you put another layer, like the crumbs and the crumb cooties won't get onto the,
I love that.
won't get onto the, it's how I
It's
describe
really all about
cautious.
crumb cooties.
It's
Yeah.
how I describe cautious to people, it's like meat has cooties, the dairy has cooties, and they can't touch.
It's an
And
accurate way of
if
putting
you
it.
cook, if it gets hot in a pot or a pan, then the cooties sink in.
Yeah, the
And then
heat
they-
transfers
You
the
can't mix
cooties,
the cookies. That's a really good, that's really good.
right? Because it's like, how else do you describe it? It's the essence, like,
Yeah.
yeah, but if you're not used to it,
Yeah.
everybody knows.
No,
cookies.
cooties is a good way of putting it.
Hello, good morning. Do you have your whole puncher and stapler creation? I don't know how to stapler, but you got invented the stapler.
Good morning.
See, honestly, it looks like I got pink eye. I was going through a pink eye today, so, and now my eye is. When I woke up, I think that's because I was tired. They were a little red. And then
I always get paranoid, like whenever I wake up and like I'm really tired and my eyes are swollen, I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Like I was very careful when I was holding this kid. Like I was very like cautious. Make sure, like,
Okay,
But the kid is not cautious.
no, but like basically, like as long as I didn't like put him on my
Rachel.
clothes too much, like not wash my hands and touch
Rachel.
my eyes, like it should be fine. But
it's Rachel.
I didn't want to hold him, but he was being sent home and he literally started bawling, and I felt so bad.
Okay, let's see.
Hi. Do you by any chance still have my sweatshirt? Yeah.
Okay, Liberivka. Bush, okay, got the
We
name.
got Nina.
And,
Samantha got Nina a sweatshirt.
Sirka,
Oh, yeah.
let's see. Samantha, Sirka.
She's right there.
Okay, Samantha is here. Good morning. Samantha. Good morning. And Hannah. Let's see. Okay, your name is, okay.
Yeah, you're a cat.
Okay.
Probably not.
None of this, okay. And let's see. Okay, your name is?
My name's Kate Wolf. I don't know if you want to
No,
list.
Wolk?
Wolf, W-O-L-K.
Who else is missing? Okay, Ariella, Ariel,
I know why.
and let's see. Again,
Is it from your beak?
Samantha,
She's born with it. Maybe it's that.
and let's see.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're like, Schmaltz. After you did the
okay.
You have your resume?
I don't think they'll want to use it though.
Okay, your name again, your name is? Nadia Gold, okay, that's right. And Ariel,
yeah, we
And,
got that name, but
I don't think.
your name I got?
Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
cat.
Eric Katz, okay. Okay.
get my name down.
I have a lot of
Oh,
things.
Sarah.
just- sorry, Abigail. Okay, those, okay, I gave out these booklets yesterday, if you, those who. Okay. Okay, anyone else that need,
Do I get to keep it?
yes? We're on, page 34. The Torah tells us that the laws of Yom Tov, holiday, and Shabbos have also the prohibition, Lisasa Chol Malacha, do not do forbidden work. So many of the prohibitions of Shabbos also apply to Yom Tov, with the exception. The Torah tells us, whatever is needed for eating, that is permitted to do on Yom Tov. So in that itself, we have the cooking from an existing fire, carrying that which is needed for that day. The making a dough is permissible. And also to choose to separate a mixture is permissible on Yom Tov with details. So one of the rules are that you could only do that which is needed for that day. You cannot do on one day of Yom Tov for the next day of Yom Tov. We will go into detail on all of these permissible things, how it's permissible. But I'm going in the order of the book, and here it says Erev Tavshilin. So cooking on one day of Yom Tov for the next day of Yom Tov specifically cannot be done. However, when you are cooking for the first day and you are adding ingredients that will make whatever you're cooking on the first day more tasty, then you're not limited. But you do it at the same cooking time, a cooking vessel. So therefore, you're cooking a soup. And you would like, thank you, and you would like to have enough portions for the second day as well. So at the time that you're putting your pot of soup on the fire, you're allowed to add into the pot of soup as many ingredients as you wish, because these ingredients are also going to enhance the soup. So you can put in as many portions of chicken as you want, or if you're putting in meat or potatoes, vegetables, whatever else you're putting into the soup, it'll make the soup more tasty. And therefore, this is permissible. You should not make an announcement that, oh, going to have the second day free because I'm cooking everything on the first day and I don't have to have any, I'll be able to spend the whole day not in the kitchen. I'll be able to spend my Yom Tov. That announcement cannot be made. You can put in whatever you want into your pot of soup, and therefore you will you will have now a full meal for the second day as well, as you cook the first meal because it was all in one pot. What could not be done is when you are, for instance, making cutlets, you're making burgers. Each one is separate. And therefore, you could make on the first day as much as is needed in the first day. If you're anticipating guests, you can make it for the guests that you're anticipating also. There's no restriction. If you want to give, make sure that whoever is going to be having your meal, if they want to have seconds, they can have seconds. Again, your intention is specifically for that day. So then you may do so. However, you could not make additional portions for the next day because each cutlet that you're making is an individual activity. Each burger you're making is a specific activity. Same thing would also be when you're making a salad on the first day. If by adding more ingredients, it's going to make it tastier, then you can add as much as you want, even though you know it will not be consumed, it will not be eaten the first day, it will be eaten the second day. That is permissible because all of the ingredients are there are needed to enhance the salad that you're making for the first day. If whatever ingredients you're adding is not going to add anything to the enhancement, it's just going to make a larger quantity, so there's more effort that is going into making the salad if it includes, so then that would preparation that is made on the first day cannot be done for the second day. So if it's only a larger amount of quantity, well, you know it's not going to be eaten the first day, you're making specifically for the second day, that cannot be done. Now we have the last days of Yom Tov this year is on.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
You said that we could carry just what we need. So does
That's
that mean
correct.
if I have to carry something outside, but it's what I need, then that's okay?
Yes, on Yontif, if it's not Shabbos. Yontif, that's not Shabbos, you can carry what is needed for that day.
So like I could carry a carton of eggs from my friend's house to my house if I need those eggs for my meal that day.
That's correct. You could
Got
also
it,
carry
okay.
you can carry a siddur to shul if you wish. If you want to carry the keys, you may carry the keys, only those keys that are going to be needed for the house, all your extra keys, your car keys, your office keys, all of those will be left behind. You'll take the key that you need for Yontif.
How about an extra sweater?
Extra sweater, if you think that it'll be cold, that's fine. Anything you can carry it in your hand, you can carry your coat in your hand. These are things that you are carrying because you need it for that day. That is permissible.
Can I push my kids in a stroller?
In a stroller, they may you may push your kids in the stroller if you need them for that day. Okay.
So what can you not carry? What's one example of something you can't carry?
Okay, you cannot carry on the first day for the second day. You're going to a seder. You're not go to this. You don't go to the second seder early. This year it doesn't apply because it is okay. So it doesn't apply because this is Shabbos is the first day, so they can't do anything on the first day for the second day anyway. But generally speaking, that you could so whatever is needed for the first day could be done on the first day. You cannot carry on the first day for the second Seder night because you're going to be carrying over your whatever you want to bring. You want to bring some wine or whatever it may be. You have to wait until the second night begins, and then you bring over whatever you wish for the Seder if you're going out. The same thing would also be on the first day. We do not set the table for the second Seder until it becomes night. Yes.
How are you supposed to prepare food for the Seder if you can't start preparing it until it's already dark?
The first night, so if you prepare everything before Yom Tov begins, you could prepare as much as you want. If you want to prepare charoses, maror, all of these, the salt water, you're cooking the eggs, all of these things, you could make enough of a quantity before the holiday begins, and you'll use that for both Seder. Same thing as the roasted neck, roasted part of
And
the.
is heating it up count as preparing it? If it's already
Heating it
cooked?
for heating it would be when the second night begins. Now we're going to speak about the exception when it comes now this year. We have now the Friday and Shabbos are both holidays. Now, what do we do? What about lighting the candles? We could not light the candles on Shabbos. We have to light them on Friday. We cannot warm up the food on Shabbos. We have to warm it on Friday, whatever we're going to be eating for the Seder night, the second night, which is Shabbos. This is not the Seder, it's right now, it's the last 2 days. The 7th and the 8th day of Pesach this year is Friday and Shabbos. So now we want to heat up the food that we're going to be eating on Shabbos. All of these activities, how do we do this? So that's where we come into an Eruv Tavshilin. This is on page 34, number 15. So we do have now an exception that when it's a holiday that has a Friday and Shabbos coming together, so we make an Eruv Tavshilin. An Eruv Tavshilin, this is on page 35, shows that we already began to cook for Shabbos before the holiday began. And cooking on the holiday, Yom Tov, means only that we're finishing the cooking on Erev Yom Tov. So we take a baked good and a cooked item, and we're going to have that made before the holiday begins. So in this case, it's going to be on Chol HaMoed Thursday. We're going to make an Eruv Tavshilin. And you take, this case we're speaking about, it's Pesach, so we're using a matzah during the year when we have a holiday that's that involves a Shabbos. So then we take a challah, a roll, but in this case it's matzah, equivalent of an egg, which would be a whole matzah, and a cooked dish that would be at least an ounce something that is shows some significance. Some people use meat or fish. Some people use a hard-boiled egg, and we make a blessing. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us concerning the mitzvah of Eruv. These are one of the 7 mitzvahs that are from a Sanhedrin, from the Supreme Court. And these are rabbinic mitzvahs of which we make a blessing. He commanded us to listen to the Chachamim, to listen to the Sanhedrin. That is a commandment that tells us that is in the Torah, that the halachic rulings of the Sanhedrin are to be accepted by all of Klal Yisrael. And so lighting of the Shabbos candles are one of them. The saying of Hallel is one of them. Chanukah, Purim, washing of our hands for bread. The blessings that we say before foods. These are all part of the Sanhedrin rabbinic obligation commandments, and this mitzvah Eruv is one of them as well. And then we make a declaration that it's in Aramaic, and in English it reads, through this it will be permissible for us to bake, to cook, to put away a dish, to preserve its heat, to light a candle. Here's where we get the lighting of the candles, which will be on Friday afternoon for Shabbos, and to prepare and do on the festival all that is necessary for Shabbos for us and all Israelites who dwell in the city. So here we have the declaration. We made the bracha. We put away this food, and this food is going to be intact for all the time that we are going to be making our preparations on Friday. So in order to prepare for Shabbos, all the foods have to be edible, ready to be eaten on Friday itself. So you are permitted to cook again on Friday for Friday. So in this case, we're not transgressing, because if you wanted to eat the food that you prepared for Shabbos on Friday, you were able to, because it was edible, it was ready on Friday itself. So you're not going that you're doing something specifically that's not ready to be eaten on the holiday, but only on the next day. That cannot be done. In other words, those people who make a cholent throughout the year, there are 2 ways of doing it. One would be it should be fully cooked on Friday, regular throughout the year, it should be fully cooked on Friday, or those who make it completely raw with meat that is going to take a long time to cook, and you put that on your blech, on your cooker, and that would be permissible. However, this time, making a cholent has to be completely edible on Friday, that if you wanted to eat it on Friday, you should be able to do so. So those are the rules for as far as Eruv Tafshilin is concerned, that you have to have the food fully cooked on Friday, and also as long as the Eruv is intact, that is the time that you are permitted to cook. If someone ate up the Eruv on Friday morning, then that's the end of the Eruv. So it has to be intact while you're doing all your cooking. What is done with the Eruv usually, since a mitzvah was done with it, people will save it for Shabbos, and they will use the matzah during the Shabbos for Lechem Mishnah. In this case, Sudas Mashiach is on Shabbos, so people will use it for the Sudas Mashiach. You will eat, whatever dish you put away, whether it's the meat or fish or the egg, you will eat that during the course of Shabbos, since it is a mitzvah. So then you will eat it. Also, you have to make sure that it is edible. In other words, you don't leave it out. If you had a piece of fish, and you make sure that you put your Eruv into the fridge and put a little, note on it that this is the Eruv, that people should not eat. It comes Friday morning, so once they eat something, they'll go into the fridge, take the fish, and eat it up. You have to put down you have to sort of indicate that this is an Eruv fish, leave it, so all the preparation for Shabbos could be done. Now we also have what happens over here I'm speaking in Mechon Chana, Mechon L'Yihadis.
Wait, can I ask a question quickly?
Let me just finish my.
Okay.
So we can have one person who's making the Eruv could have in mind other people as well. So that is also a process that if you want to give others a share in the Eruv that you're making, so you take, this is on page 36, you take the Eruv, and you have someone else who's going to acquire it on behalf of all the people who want to share this Eruv. So this is the Eruv, we'll give it to someone, they'll pick it up on behalf of all the people who are going to participating in the Eruv that I am making. And then I make I take it back from, they pick it up, and I say, I hereby grant a share in this Eruv to anyone who wishes to participate in it, to depend upon it. Then the person who is taking it on behalf of everyone who is going to share this, lifts it up, gives it back to me, and then I would make the blessing for the Eruv Tavshilin. This would come before I make the blessing on the Eruv Tavshilin. After that, I then will put it away intact to make sure that it's okay. Let me answer questions. I'll take a Zoom question first. Yes? Any question?
Yeah, so my question is, I'm not really understanding how this way of cooking is different than normal for Shabbos. So what I'm hearing you say is that on Friday, just like we always do for Shabbos, it's got to be fully cooked beforehand, and you can warm it up on the blech, and that's it. And it sounds like that when Yom Tov starts on Friday, the same exact rules apply. I'm confused as to whether there's any difference at all.
As long as you have the Eruv, there's no difference.
As long as you have I thought that Eruv meant like a piece of string surrounding a community that allows people to carry it.
There's a whole, the Eruv word is used for 3 different situations. One of them is for cooking, enabling us to cook on a holiday, Friday, to prepare for Shabbos. So again, we would, so that would be, again, cooking from an existing flame. All the rules of Yom Tov still apply. The only thing that we are doing the Eruv for is in order to prepare for the next day.
Mhm.
That is one Eruv. Does anyone know about another Eruv? An Eruv of?
I don't remember there's one that's like you can go carry outside, and there's one that you can go to a different town.
Okay, so now we have the Eruv that encloses the city, the neighborhood, in order to make it a private domain. And now you are permitted to carry in this private domain because it is no longer, it has halachic walls that encloses this section, this area, this neighborhood. So that would be another Eruv, which again would be halachic walls, which a spring or one of these other enclosures would be halachically acceptable. According to the situation, according to how many people travel in that city, is one of the, there are a lot of details to this. Then there's another Eruv, which is called Eruv Chatzeros. Eruv Chatzeros means that if you have your private domain, your private property, and there is another private property that belongs to someone else. So there is a rabbinic restriction of carrying from one private property to another private property, unless everyone unites together and everyone becomes the tenants of, or the neighbors of one household. This is all when there is no separation of a public domain. So let's take an apartment building, for instance. You have an apartment building, you have the communal area, which would be the lobby, you have the halls, and you have all of the different apartments that each one has their own apartment. So you would do is, usually they would do it before Pesach. Everyone would give a matzah to one home that's going to be hosting everybody else. So you choose someone who does not have to contribute a matzah because he's going to be the host. Everyone gives a matzah to that household, and now everyone becomes like Eruv. They all become united. They all become like his tenants, his household. And therefore, all of the private domains all become like one. It's like another room in my house. So just
Gotcha.
in my house, I don't have to make any special stipulations to carry from one room to the other. It's all my house. Same now in this apartment building. If it was done halakhically well, that is, if there are also the non-Jewish people have to join in some way, as everyone in that apartment building becomes like one house. It's just separate rooms in my house. So now the lobby becomes part of my hallway. Becomes the hall, become part of my house. Everything becomes a part of my house. The same would also be if you have two apartments in one building. If there is the communal area that people want to carry, or you want to carry from one apartment to the other in a two-family house. So there too, the two people have to make an Erev Katzeros for Shabbos. Or in this case also, we try to do it with a matzah. Usually you don't have to do it every single week if the matzah is still intact. So you still becomes all one home. And everyone, one of the two family house, one of them chooses that they're going to be the host. They do not have to contribute a matzah. The other family has to give a matzah. They're moving in by having their matzah there. And therefore you use matzah that you don't have to make it every week. Because if you use a challah, it might get stale. And then it's no longer intact. It has to be still fresh. So that would be Erev Chatzeros. So we have three Erev. We have the Erev Tafshilin, the Erev for foods, the Erev Chatzeros, then you have the Erev for the city. Okay, question.
So I know oftentimes it's like the head of the household is the one who makes the proclamations, but is that still the case here? Because like my dad does not cook. My mother is cooking. Is
Okay.
she the one?
No, any adult could make the Erev Tafshilin.
And they could exempt other people?
Yes.
Like my
But
mother could exempt my father?
everyone in the household are one. All your guests are one. Anyone who comes to eat to you, they are included in the Erev Tafshilin without having to include them specifically. We're speaking about including another family that is not a part of the household, but anyone in the household does not have to have a specific Erev Tafshilin. It's one person makes it for the whole, all the foods that are being cooked in this house is included in this Erev Tafshilin, or everyone who is relying on this Erev Tafshilin. So the head of the household would make it, but if he's not home yet, whatever it may be, any adult could make this Erev Tafshilin. Yes.
Two questions. One is that you said it's rabbinic, right?
Yes.
So does that mean that like if you're not like at a certain religious point, like you don't do it, or?
So would that be, let me ask you the question, if someone is not at a specific point, do they light Shabbos candles? Shabbos candles and making Erev Chatzeros are both in the same category. Purim, Hanukkah are both in the same category. So we try to encourage anyone that could do any mitzvah that they should do it. And we encourage people to light Shabbos candles, even though they're not at a point where they're keeping Shabbos. We still, try to encourage them. The same thing is also here. If they're not at a point of keeping Yontif, then to them, with cooking on the first day for the second day is not an issue for them because they do whatever they do. But if you could do it in a permissible way and also fulfilling a mitzvah, then we try to take advantage of that,
And
encourage people to do that.
Also, it seems like a little bit like juju, like witchy juju magic, like.
Okay, that's
'cause,
why.
like, Arab makes sense because it's like a string, like a
Okay,
outside one,
so here we have so technically, that's why nothing was transgressed by cooking for 2 days because it was edible on the first day. It was possibly to be eaten if you want to eat this if you wanted to eat up the whole Shabbos meal on Friday, no one's stopping you. If you want to, if guests come into your house and you take the Shabbos meal and you give it to them, so really, it's not transgressing anything that the first day is not permissible. It's just making us aware of the importance of Yontif. 2 things: the importance of Shabbos and the importance of Yontif. The importance of Yontif is that we should not do any activity on Yontif for the weekdays, for after Yontif. How is this emphasized? That even if it is Shabbos, that is such a special day, even then you have to make special preparations and a whole process in order to be able to cook for Shabbos. how much more so it is that when it comes to cooking on Yom Tov, you don't prepare on Yom Tov for the weekdays. So that sort of reinforces that idea. The second thing is that people are carried away with Yom Tov. And especially if you have, let's say you have a 2-day Yom Tov and the Shabbos follows, so it's a 3-day holiday. Now, you're a big cook and you do a lot of hosting and you can't go shopping on Yom Tov. Whatever you prepared on before Yom Tov began, that's what you're going to have for the first, second, and third day. Now, could Shabbos be forgotten? Yes. You're so busy about thinking about the first days, and you're having 20 guests in the first day and 30 guests in the second day. What happened with poor Shabbos? It comes to the end, you look in your pantry, you look in your refrigerator, it's empty. So now, before Yom Tov begins, you have to prepare for Shabbos. So now you are focusing that not only are you preparing and getting all the ingredients that you need for Yom Tov, you must, before Yom Tov begins, think of the Shabbos as well. So it's an emphasis of both the Yom Tov to show the importance of Yom Tov, not to prepare on Yom Tov for the weekday, and then also the importance of Shabbos, that when you are going to be preparing for Yom Tov, remember that Shabbos is also a day that you're going to be preparing for. So that is that was the thought behind this mitzvah.
So it's not
So-
as much like you can't cook without it. It's more of like, it reminds you, like.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. And it was established by Shlomo, King Solomon. So that's where this Erev goes all the way back to King Solomon, his Sanhedrin, that we have this Erev Tavshilin coming back from them. Yes, any of the question? Yes.
I had a question. With the Arab hut Sarah's, I've heard like when people stay at hotels, sometimes they'll like pay extra to have like access to the rest of the spaces or whatever on Shabbos. Like they'll like give like $1 or something. Is that like functionally the same purpose? And
It's it matter who's.
Does someone not pay extra rent and then it makes it private property basically?
It would be someone who's not a Shabbos observer, who's always not someone who's not Jewish. They would sort of they would rent it out from them. So it's yes.
Okay, I was panicking because the 8th day this year falls on Shabbos, right? So like, when do we make the matzo ball soup?
On Friday.
On Friday? But
On
Friday's the 7th day,
I know, but we're preparing for Shabbos. You're not going to eat it on Friday, but you're preparing for Shabbos.
so it's okay.
Those who might, those in those communities that do not eat gebruchts, do not eat the dipped in matzah mel and matzah that is cooked and baked. But so this year we do prepare on Friday. We can make the matzah balls. We can make the matzah brai. All these things are done on Friday.
Wait, you said this is.
Only if we have the Erev.
Shlomo was the. So that's this
But
year.
only if
Is
we have
the,
the Erev, right?
excuse me?
We can do that, but only if we have the Erev.
Let's see, it's correct. The Erev Tavshilin, you have to have the Erev in order to be able to prepare, since it's going to specifically for, I guess, the for the 8th day again. So that that is the so. Okay,
Sorry, this year we don't need an Erev Tavshilin.
we do for the last days. The last days is going to be, it's going to be a Friday Shabbos. The 7th day of Pesach is Friday, and followed by Shabbos. On Friday, we want to prepare for Shabbos. Friday is Yom Tov. Friday is the holiday. So in order to do so, we have to, not in Eretz Yisrael. In Eretz Yisrael, Friday is the last day. But you have to prepare anyway for Shabbos.
Yeah.
That's correct. You still ending the Erev Tavshilin as well.
Yeah.
So on Thursday, the Erev Tavshilin is made on Thursday. Now, as far as the girls, everyone's going home or people are staying in the dormitory. So in the dormitory, the Erev Tavshilin is made by the hostess, the ones who are hosting you all year. They made the Erev Tavshilin. If you are renting, if you're renting your own basement, so then the Erev Tavshilin, you could ask someone to make the Erev Tavshilin and have you in mind, or you make your own. Mhm.
We're reading a book about this on Shabbos, and there was like one opinion that said that like the rabbi of the community could do it for everyone and have everyone in mind.
Okay, Now, as far as the rabbi community, unless you ask him specifically, so then he's having you in mind specifically. Other than that, he makes it for people who forgot. So then, if the rabbi did not forget to include someone, to make the first part of it is to have someone pick it up on every. It works only one time. You can only forget once. If you were a consistent forgetter, then it does not happen. So he does not have you in mind, but he has everyone in mind, and it's only for people who forgot, and it's only good for one time.
So I can ask whoever's doing it for the dorm to have me in mind, and I don't need to do anything else or be there when they're doing it. I can
That's
just
correct.
ask them.
That's correct. Yes.
For the Eruv itself,
Mhm.
so it has to be fresh. Does it have to be like ready to eat at all times, or can you freeze it? And if it'll still be
No,
good
it
if
should
I
be, it should be,
roast it? Has to be in the fridge.
it should be in the fridge, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
If they can just have you in mind, then what's the context for doing the thing with the passing back and forth and the
No,
saying?
because that's,
That the-
in mind is not enough. A mind is not enough.
Oh.
It has to be an actual, having someone
Have to
pick it
go
up.
there.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
The lighting of the
because it's
candle,
not just
okay,
for
let's,
them, we're saying this is not just for me, this is also for other people, generally speaking. So generally speaking, also for other people, I think is what the passage is about. It's like, hey, look, that's another person who isn't me. They also count. I think then you can.
So I have two
add-
options. Either I make my own Eruv, which allows me to cook, or
Mhm.
I rely on the Eruv of the rabbi if I
Oh, yeah.
forget, but I can only forget once per holiday. I can't forget
That's-
twice per holiday.
That's correct. That's correct. That's only so therefore the first way is what you should do. And the second way is if you forgot to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. Can I
So
make
what
the
we-
Eruv over Shabbos if I've forgotten to make it, or it's too late then?
No, too late. Too late. Could only be done on the weekday.
I know that I came in late and that's my own fault, but what is this error? Like, what is, we can only, sorry.
So,
I got you.
I'm sorry.
okay, I'll stay after class for 1 minute. I'll catch you up. Okay, so now, what I would like you to do is to read ahead. We have the Hallel that is going to be say the full Hallel on the first 2 days of Pesach, and also the exception is the first 2 nights of Pesach. Hallel will be said during our evening davening.
Is it
So
the
it's
only time
that we say Hallel. So actually, on the night we'll be saying Hallel twice, once during these services, and then also during the Seder. Hallel, the full Hallel is said.
Wait, so you say Mariv, you say Hallel at Mariv also?
Yes, by Ma'ariv, Hallel is said for Ma'ariv, the full Hallel, on the first night and the second night of Pesach in our community.
But only in Chutz La'aretz.
Oh, only in Chut, and yes, in Eretz Yisrael it said the first night.
Just-
So because that's the one night, it's said on Yom Tov. Whenever Yom Tov is,
So
that's when it's said,
We say Hallel not at Shacharis?
in addition to,
Yes, at Shacharis?
yes, in other words, twice. We'll say,
And also at Mariv
That's
and
correct.
also at the Seder,
yes,
and full each time.
Yeah.
What
So
happens?
this is for which nights?
first 2 nights of Pesach.
Seder nights.
Seder
And those
nights.
we say full hour?
Yes,
And when do we say it in the morning?
in the morning we say it also, we say the full Hallel the first 2 days of Pesach. All the intermediary days, the last days, we say half Hallel.
Okay, but do we say it, just double checking?
In morning prayers
Okay,
and
we
night
say it
prayers
twice a
and
day.
at dinner.
So we say it 3 times in the Seder days.
Yes,
And then during Chol Hamoed, we,
say the half Hallel
okay, got it.
for
Thank you.
Shabbos, yes.
Oh. Okay, I've heard of this. I thought you meant like a literal error.
No. We said there are 3 Eruvs. There's Eruv Tavshilin for foods, Eruv Tavshilin to enclose this place, then also to make neighbors able to carry from one household to the other. Okay, so we have, as far as davening is concerned, we're going to do Sfiras HaOmer and the changing over to the summer in the Shemona Esrei and Yalla B'Yavai. So I want you to study pages 40 through 40, I guess to 47. So we're going to have one day for all our davenings and Sfiras HaOmer. We're also going to have a day that we're going to speak about the difference between Shabbos and Yontif and what you are permitted to do on Yontif as far as all the malachas that we don't, that we're permitted to do on Yontif, how it's done.
And we count the Omer after we say mitzvah, like after Shemona Esrei?
So the Omer is said in the evening after nightfall. So that's the,
After Mars.
I have a question. We're doing this in the dorm, but
yes.
the sinks everything's been kosher, so why do we need to?
Is it made of metal or
It's
it's a
metal.
plastic? It's
It's metal and then we're lining it with plastic, but I don't understand, the guy came to torch it.
Yes. Technically, you'll ask the one who covered it.
This was done last year,
Mhm.
so this is a picture of what we're meant to
Yeah.
do this year, but, and I asked why we're
Yes.
doing that, just out of curiosity,
Yes,
and she said, ask in class, so.
and I have no answer. If it was torch and it's made out of metal,
Stainless steel.
stainless steel, then it should be fine. So you'll ask again.
Maybe even like, is there a reason for this tinfoil?
It's
all stainless steel.
I don't, I think the faucet itself is made of a plastic. I don't think it's actually,
So maybe,
I think because I think the faucet itself may be made of plastic.
she
I
said
don't know.
that
It's
this is
not-
what Chabad does.
Wait, how long?
I don't know.
Do you
I
know,
don't know.
do you know why when you're wrapping tables for Pesach that you have to wrap, not that you have to, actually, this is a question Mrs. Gretel also didn't know, that they wrapped the whole entire thing in tinfoil, and then they used like a plastic tablecloth, and then they used a piece of wood, and then they used tinfoil, and then they used a plastic tablecloth. Why? So many things, so many layers
How is it used all year?
for eating.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, is this,
Like it's like
is it covered, is
this,
it covered all year or just?
like
it's left
this
way?
with like
Yeah,
a
it's
tablecloth, 2 tablecloths usually.
It's usually 2 tablecloths. Well, what we're concerned about is something hot and wet. It might, heat up the bottom. If they're, that's the, if you have all these precautions, I mean, the wood itself would be sufficient. You don't want to leave the wood uncovered. So you cover it up. I mean, but I'm just saying the
Yeah,
wood
But
itself
they
is
have like
enough
2
of a,
layers under the wood and then the
So-
wood and then another
Uh,
layer.
okay, so-
And we like layering.
so I don't know. I don't know but the wood itself, I mean, the idea is that there should be no, any heat conductor should not go through if it's going to become wet and it's going to heat up the bottom and then throw up.
So
and
if you just
transfer.
had a sheet of wood and like a tablecloth, that would be sufficient, you
yes.
don't need all of the layers.
That would be halachically, yes.
Okay,
All the different stringencies that people take upon themselves,
yeah,
that would be stringencies.
yeah.
Who did I leave out? Irvin?
I was in a meeting with Rabbi Majeski, like,
Okay,
why
good,
did
you're-
they
you're-
layer it like this? And I said, I don't know, I thought that's how it was supposed to be done.
Okay.
Like that, they said it was supposed to be done this way, and she was like
Did
wondering
I
why
miss
there was so
anyone
many
else?
layers on the table. She said it's
Oh, I
because
did
that's
not-
how